It's a kid who stole an apple. I'm not
slating
him on
him.
this. Stop telling me to betray my oaths.
Oh, hey, man.
Hey,
Whoa.
Is
What?
that normal?
Is that normal?
Is what normal? What are you seeing?
Your head's like flapping up and down like a South Park episode.
You need to look in a mirror, my friend, because your head is flapping up and down.
Not last time I checked. Is this what happens where you're from?
No, I've never seen this. It's actually kind of scary. I can see like the wall behind you sometimes.
I mean, I'm from Canada, but this is too far.
I knew you were an airhead, but my goodness.
Here, let's get this over with.
Get this over with?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Caffeine and Cantrips, the show where we flap about D&D
I guess
or
so.
else. Hello, I'm Byron number 199.
And I'm Sean number 85. 85? Did it go down?
Did you go down? Did you? I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, well, this week, these two ruttish, rump-fed barnacles will be donning the mightiest of weapons, the shiniest of armors, and fielding the boldest of banners as they gear up to take on the greatest challenge. Take heed, muggles, as our hosts enter the Viper Pit and take on the real dark side of the game. They fight the biggest, baddest, evilest, guyest of them all.
Guyest.
Yeah, I guess they're on a roll.
All right, welcome to the show, everyone. As we alluded to in our shtick, today we are talking about BBEGs at your gaming table and what you can do to mitigate that. If it's someone else, if it happens to be yourself, what can we do to make sure that this doesn't happen, or if it is happening, to remedy that situation? Because I think we can all agree that the less kind of annoying behaviors or disruptive behaviors at the table, at your gaming table, the better.
Yeah. So we're saying the real BBE of the story isn't necessarily the bad guy in the story itself. It could be the person that's hurting the game at large. And that's one of the people rolling the dice, saying their thing, saying their piece, and kind of taken away from the game. And so, that's what we're going to be talking about today, which is kind of an interesting topic, right?
Yeah, because we're talking about real life BBEGs, right? Not in-game BBEGs. And I think before
we're coming for you, Jeff Bezos.
Oh, well, geez. Sorry, Jeff. In case you're watching. I want to preface this whole thing by saying that when we call you, we don't call you specifically BBEG, but these are sort of certain qualities of maybe that sort of habits that will take away from the fun and the flow of your game table, right? And I think all of us have qualities, maybe in large part or lesser part, all of these qualities that we're going to be talking about today.
You nasty people.
I know, right? I mean, and we are nasty people. So nasty.
So nasty.
That's why we're forced to talk about D&D.
That's why we get brought to this room. And I mean, I think the first way that you can really prove that you're not the BBG of your table or of this channel is to hop down, find that like button, give us the thumbs up, let us know that you are not one of the bad ones, that you're one of the good ones. Just like us.
Yep. Or if you are one of the bad ones, leave a nasty comment in the comment section. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah. And make sure you subscribe. Scroll on down to where that bell is lit up. And or click the follow button, whichever major streaming service you are a part of currently.
Look at you. Sounds professional.
Wow. Almost.
Yeah. Except we're not getting paid.
But maybe. So, yes, join us in the conversation. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think about what we're talking about. Who the big bad has been in your history, right? And were you the hero that actually got to slay them, metaphorically? But yeah, let's jump in. So, I mean,
if you didn't slay them metaphorically, you should turn yourself in, please. and get help. Sorry.
Little deep moment, deep thoughts from Caffeine and Cantrips. But yeah, no. So I think we need to dig in a little bit and kind of expand with a little bit more clarity of what we're talking about here, right? And so that we're not just crying wolf, left and right here. That we're actually going, who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Well, the big bad at your table. What do they look like? What is that? Because it's going to be your friends or your table mates or your whoever it is that you're playing with. Maybe a bunch of AIs at this point. One of them could be the big bad. ChatGPT. Always talking over me.
So abusive.
But these types of people are, unfortunately, we've all played with people who are going to have some of these qualities, right? And so it really is going to come down to determining what works at your table and with your friend group and what's acceptable,
right?
Kind of what's going on there. But I mean, the key things that they are going to develop are going to be frustration at the table, or additional unnecessary friction between the people, not the characters, right? Ways of disempowering the other people around them, right? Taking away their voice or taking away their agency. Exclusion, like forcing people out, whether that's because of their race, their gender, their experience, right? Gatekeepers are out there. We've generally had experience with them or heard about them. There's whole YouTube channels dedicated to like reading bad stories, right? So there is enough of this out there that, we've all kind of seen it or heard of it, right? And I think key to the entire kind of demographic of big bads at the table is selfishness, right? It's going to be a key kind of part of what we're going to talk about,
right?
In these individuals.
Yes, I mean, I think there are other qualities that are.
Oh, sure.
Right? But I think the big one is selfishness. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's going to be, and we'll talk about that as we kind of go through it and we kind of look at what types of people there are out there. But selfishness or that kind of self-focus is one thing that's really going to be common, a common thread through all of them. So we're going to talk about that a lot as we go. And really what this is doing is it's not just the reason that it's a topic that we should talk about is because it's not just something that's going to hurt your game, right? It's going to transcend your game and it's going to move through hearsay and people's attitudes and whatnot. It's going to possibly be the reason that somebody quits D&D or never plays in the first place, right? Or, they experience such barriers to get it that they don't even bother trying. And so they don't get the ability to do it, and it gives a bad name. And as we all know, bad news travels way faster than good news. Right. And especially if you're trying to include, you're trying to be inclusive, you're trying to bring as many people, as many friends, as many possible friends or strangers, whatever it is. Right. The last thing that you want to do is to spread a message of discontent and hate and or whatever it is. Right. And so it's these individual bad apples that do spoil the bunch. Right. I think is one of the kind of the real effects that it has. Right. And even for qualified people that have been playing for a long time, things can ruin their fun, right? If it's bad enough, they might not go back, and they might not go back for years, right? And that's no good. That's no good because like we talked about, the best part of D&D is you, right? And we want you to play. So we don't want barriers to that. Yeah. No, it's true, and I want to I want to stress out. I'm so stressed out. Why do they keep summoning me here? You can't see it, but there's veins popping out of his forehead.
No, I want to stress that it's often not like even just one particular person who is the BBEG, right? I think we all have to varying sort of amounts of BBG within us. Too. Right? Like maybe we're not that guy at the table. Maybe we don't have a particular person who is that person, right? But I think we all have certain things or certain habits that we fall into that might just take away a little bit here, a little bit there,
Absolutely.
A little bit here, and just I want to sort of point out that it's good to just be aware of these habits in other people so we can help them. but also within ourselves too.
There's a lot of times that you see it's not one person, but maybe 2 or 3 people all find that joke funny, right? And because there's a group or a niche at the table that finds it funny, they push it a little too far for the people who don't find it funny.
Right.
Individually, maybe not so bad, but when they lump it on together, becomes an issue.
Or like maybe one person does one thing, another person does something else, and then that combination just escalate, and then right.
And that's why I suppose I really want to say there is a difference, if we're kind of doing it in the theme of the episode, there's a difference between a BBEG and a villain.
Right.
And that line is going to be what you guys decide is acceptable at the table.
Yes.
Right. Obviously, there are attitudes and comments and personalities and conflicts, actions that are not acceptable, period. These are the villains. We do not want villains at our table, right? BBEGs are bringing down the game. Villains are outright destroying it.
Oh, like on purpose.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And that's your, well, maybe not on purpose, but maybe that's the person who is pushing too hard and they're making other players feel very uncomfortable in naughty ways, right? That person needs to go, right? And that's not a state of somebody just draining the game or disempowering or excluding people. That's a person who is really going beyond the bounds of safety and comfort, right, at the table that we're supposed to kind of establish as a group and a team. And they do not need to be there. Like that's where we need to politely but forcefully say, you're not welcome here.
The guy who does like the lines of cocaine and encourages other people to do hard drugs at your table, that kind of person?
I mean, maybe, unless that's specifically accepted at your table, but that could be the person who
guys,
who is like physically threatening people to do things in the game.
That's extreme.
Right? Like we're talking about, real naughty, in real life, bad behavior.
Right, okay.
Right? Bad, illegal.
Or like emotionally abusing people and bullying people. Okay,
yes. Yeah, these are villains, period. They don't belong at the table. Work as a team, work as an individual, whatever it takes. Get them out of your tables, get them out of your lives, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be about fun. This is why we love doing this, is because it's a fun pastime. We don't need those types of people there. So there is a clarification here of just who is making the game worse and then who doesn't belong in the game at all. And I suppose you could point the finger at me and call me a gatekeeper. But if anybody really wants to play at a table where it's full of people threatening to just beat each other up because they didn't, hit the boss that fight, I don't want to play. I will play, but I'll play in full body gear and, we'll have a mosh pit all the day, whatever. But that's not the table that most people want to play at. Right. So I think that's maybe enough of a preamble. Do we want to dig into these BBEGs?
Sure. The BB, I mean, like I said, these are, I'm going to call them like, I'm going to categorize them into sort of imagery here. But these are not necessarily specific people.
No.
But they're sort of
Brian.
Chauncey 422.
Oh, Chauncey 334.
334, 344.
I really hope you're a clown.
Right, but they're sort of personifications of this sort of quality.
Yeah.
In that we may all have in us when we play. Okay. The first one I want to talk about is what I call the hog. This is the person or the behavior that sort of hogs all the limelight and all this wants to hog all the spotlight within the game. Right? So they insert themselves into all of the RP scenes. Right? They make it all the scenes about them or their character. Right? They go and whenever there is a chance to solve a problem, their character is the one that goes to solve the problem.
Often known as chaotic everywhere.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, there's a term, chaotic, where they're in every scene, even though both scenes are like across town or in different nations or whatever. They're present everywhere.
Right. In another example is in combat, even when it's not their turn, and a player does something and they jump in and they're like, no, you should do this. Definitely you should smite right now. Right? And really pushes that, even though it's not really their business.
Oh, it is not.
Right? And they don't do it like in character. They don't RP it. They don't, right? It's just wanting to play someone else's D&D game too, right? So they take everything for themselves. And the crux of it is that they don't give sort of anything back. They don't share. They don't make anything better. Like, I don't jump into your scene necessarily to make the scene more fun for you or sort of intensify the spotlight on your character. I do it just for my character.
Right.
It's that selfish,
Because I have something to say about your story.
right? That inward focused behavior, right?
Mhm.
And then on the opposite end of that spectrum, there is the lump. Is what I call this quality, right? And it's when a player doesn't really, they're really sort of passive, and this is much more vague of an idea than the hog. The hog, you can kind of recognize it right away. The lump, they don't add anything to RP. So when you go and you're in a scene with them, we talked about this, right? It's the in improvisation is you're just supposed to use the yes and.
Correct.
Right? The lump outright says no, or they go yes and they stop. Right? So they don't add anything to the scenes, and they're just there to sort of consume all of the sort of material that's sort of presented to them. And what that does is that it puts a burden on everyone else to everyone else is just putting stuff out, and they don't. And this lump doesn't put anything back. They just take it and they enjoy it, and they don't give back.
So maybe another word that might be, well, two words that might be a little bit more clear is a bit of a black hole, right?
Yeah, they just
absorb all the light and everything around them,
all the energy, the right.
Yeah, and so you have to if you are around a lump, then you have to not only create enough creativity for yourself, but you also have to like beat entropy as well, right? And create more than they can absorb,
right? And in combat, they just do their own thing, and they don't care about any other characters. They don't. That's it. It's sort of really that self-focus. My world is just my character, and that's it, right? And what I can get.
Sounds like I use Fireball a lot,
right.
But I'm in the way,
and I don't want you to confuse the lump with someone who's just shy, or a wallflower who's trying to, but they're just having challenges. That's different, right? And the interesting about the hog and the lump is that they can be the same person.
What?
Right? It's the lump hog, the hog lump.
Oh,
right. They take everything. It's even worse. They don't give anything to the table, and they just take everything, like actively, and that can be draining, I think.
Interesting. Okay, so that's combining a little bit of like that main character syndrome, right? And that kind of chaotic everywhere when it's all about me.
Yeah,
right.
I'm the main character as the player and my character, right? Everything, the whole world, everything is built for me and for my character only. Right. I don't need to give anything back.
That's interesting.
Right.
To see both of those, it's a weird combination, but I can see how it does manifest.
I mean, if you're just a hog, but you're giving, it's a little more forgivable, right? So you're taking everything. You take maybe 10 points worth from the table, but you're giving back, say 12. It's combined of +2, and that's forgivable. Almost, right? Would it be better if you were not a hog and it's just straight up +12 to everyone? It's even better.
Sure.
Right? But but being a hog and the lump is even worse because it's a minus and a minus, and like it's right.
Right.
So like I said, all these things, you can be a hog but not be a bad player. You can still be welcome at the table because you're still giving. Right? The lump is sort of this insidious little thing. I'm not calling you a thing, but like that trait
characteristic.
That is insidious because it's almost worse than the hog because you don't add anything to the table. Right? You're a net minus.
Now, this is in an active way, or is this in a passive way that you would consider someone to be the lump?
I think it's passive. You don't know because the active part of the lump is the giving. You know what I mean? Like taking is not an active, or not giving is not an active thing.
Right.
Right. It's just I'm not doing something.
Okay.
Whereas the hog is actively taking.
Yeah.
The lump is just not giving.
Because the lump, I think an active lump might be something closer to like a saboteur.
Oh, that's even more.
Right, where they're actively taking
they're taking
from the game,
away,
and then,
right.
But then they're actively taking away options from everybody else.
That's bad.
It's even worse.
I'm actively ruining your fun.
Yeah, by removing options.
Like you want to do something cool?
No. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's brutal, right?
It is. It is brutal. But at the heart of it, once again, we're still talking about, like we said before, that selfish nature, right? The hog is appeasing themselves by getting everything that they can. The lump is appeasing themselves by kind of doing the same thing, right? Collecting as much as they can, but without giving back, without just being that dead zone that just kind of floats along beside you.
Yeah, that black hole, it just takes.
Right. Takes and takes and takes. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting combination of individuals. Yeah, no, and thank you for providing some examples of like what the behavior
to clarify
is.
that, right?
Because it's important that we have to be able to see what it is that we're looking at, right? And look for the characteristics that are bad, and whatnot.
And again, no one person is usually 100% of this. That's pretty extreme. If you're 100% hog, 100% lump, or 50-50, I don't know, right? That's pretty bad. Usually we're somewhere in the middle, right? Everyone, right? Because everyone likes the spotlight. Everyone likes to get things.
Sure.
Right? So y'all all have a part of that. Something else to note that I talked about this as if it's the players who are like this, but DMs can be like this too.
DMs are players.
They are, right? Because what's an example of a DM being a hog? It's the DMs who are like, look at this wonderful world that I built, and I just want to show it off. Right? I want you to be impressed with the world that I built, and it's not about you guys and your characters. It's about my world.
Well, I'm telling a story that you're coming along with, and the story is going to happen no matter what you do. We've talked about this before, right? In the kind of the too much railroading, right? Could be an example.
Because my story is now taking precedence over your story.
Correct.
Right? So that's the hog. You know, they're giving, but it's not for you guys. It's for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're actually getting.
Yeah, I don't think you can have a lump DM, though. That would be kind of difficult.
Maybe.
Well, they just don't give anything out.
Just pure sandbox. What do you guys do? Yeah? What do you guys go fight? What do you find? Oh, you find bandits? Okay.
What do you think you find? Yeah.
What are you going to do now? Oh, you want to roll initiative? Okay. They just confirm or deny things. They don't actually put anything out.
So that is your AI right there, right? Just tell me what's next.
Right? ChatGPT.
Tell me what's next. Chauncey.
Yeah,
okay. No, interesting. Okay, good. No, those are some things to be aware of, and to really kind of understand that there's you got to pay attention to those types of things. And if that's happening, right, now you can have the tools to at least recognize some more of what's going on there.
Yeah.
Any other kinds of warnings